According to federal authorities, a taxpayer-funded youth center in Minneapolis has just been exposed as the front for a $1.2 billion criminal empire.
A prominent city councilwoman is in federal custody tonight after an unprecedented dawn raid.
Tactical teams from Homeland Security and the FBI are out there simultaneously dismantling a trafficking pipeline across 5 states.
5:17 in the morning, and Minneapolis. Flashbangs tear through the pre-dawn stillness, white phosphorus light flooding the parking lot of the Community and Youth Empowerment Center. Federal vehicles block every exit. FBI tactical operators pour from armored Bearcats, boots hammering frozen asphalt. A joint DHS contingent flanks the east side of the building, breaching the service entrance with a hydraulic ram that punches through reinforced steel in under 4 seconds. The building, a 2-story brick structure painted in bright murals of children holding hands, shudders under the force of coordinated entry. Federal agents have carried out a targeted raid on a high-ranking Somali American official who is accused of involvement in a massive $1.2 billion criminal network and large-scale tax fraud. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our upcoming explosive videos. The investigation started small. A compliance flag at a regional bank triggered a routine inquiry into suspicious wire transfers originating from accounts tied to the center. Funds moved in patterns that did not match a nonprofit, cycling through intermediary accounts in Nevada, Delaware, and the Cayman Islands before looping back as donations. Analysts at FinCEN expected a mid-level embezzlement case, maybe a director skimming grant money. They forwarded the file to the Minneapolis field office. Within 72 hours, the FBI escalated the case to a joint federal task force. Within 2 weeks, a sealed warrant authorized the full tactical breach now unfolding on Cedar Avenue. Routine inquiries do not get flashbangs and 63 agents, nor do they involve the Department of Homeland Security. The scale of the response tells its own story, long before anyone reads a single document. Inside, tactical teams sweep past empty classrooms, past a hallway lined with construction paper art projects, past a kitchen still smelling of yesterday's donated bread. They are not interested in any of it. Agents push directly toward the executive suites on the 2nd floor, clearing each room with practiced precision. Desks are overturned, filing cabinets opened, computers seized. During the sweep of the director's private office, agents identified a massive custom-built bookshelf, floor to ceiling, solid oak, bolted into the wall with industrial hardware far too heavy for decorative furniture. The shelf does not sit flush against the wall. A gap, barely half an inch, runs along the left side. Cold air seeps through it. He signals his team lead. 2 agents grip the frame and pull. The heavy woodwork groans, then swings outward on concealed hinges, revealing a passage that the building's original blueprints never accounted for. What waits behind that wall has nothing to do with youth empowerment, nothing to do with community outreach, and everything to do with the reason 63 federal agents are standing in a children's center at 5:17 in the morning. The passage drops 6 feet into a concrete stairwell, narrow, unfinished, lit by a single strip of blue LED running along the ceiling. Agents descend in single file, weapons drawn, flashlights cutting through stale recycled air. At the bottom, a steel door, 3 inches thick, secured with a magnetic lock and a numeric keypad. A federal forensic tech bypasses the mechanism in under 90 seconds. The door swings inward. What opens before them is a different world entirely. Above, finger paintings and donated bread. Below, a climate-controlled vault stretching nearly 2,000 square feet, carved beneath the foundation of a building paid for with public grants. The walls are reinforced with poured concrete and steel rebar, the kind of structural fortification found in cartel tunnel systems along the southern border. Fluorescent panels hum overhead, casting flat white light across rows of floor-to-ceiling storage compartments built directly into the walls. Agents pry open the first compartment. Agents found brick after vacuum-sealed brick of cocaine, stamped with identical Scorpion logos, stacked floor-to-ceiling in tight formation across multiple sequential compartments. By the time forensic teams finish cataloging the first wall alone, the count reaches 1.3 tons of cocaine. Roughly 2,600 pounds of product, with an estimated street value north of $40 million. Along the far wall, custom-built floor panels lift on hydraulic hinges to reveal secondary storage. Inside, 450 kilos of fentanyl, pressed into uniform blocks and sealed in industrial-grade plastic. Enough synthetic opioid to kill every man, woman, and child in the state of Minnesota several times over. DEA chemists on site confirm purity levels exceeding 92%, a grade consistent with direct cartel supply chains, not street-level distribution. Behind a reinforced structural void near the northeast corner, agents discover the money. $72 million in vacuum-sealed cash, bundled in $10,000 stacks, organized by denomination, and packed into modified duffel bags. Each bag is tagged with a 6-digit alphanumeric code. The tagging system alone signals a level of operational discipline that dwarfs anything a local drug ring could sustain. Deeper inside the vault, past the narcotics and the cash, a long metal table holds a row of encrypted surveillance servers, their indicator lights still blinking green. Stacked beside them, a cardboard box contains discarded law enforcement-style badges, convincing replicas of local police credentials, and 3 complete patrol uniforms, pressed and folded, sized for different body types. These are not costumes. Agents recognize the shoulder patches immediately, authentic enough to pass through any municipal security checkpoint without a second glance. The drugs indicated a cartel pipeline, the cash pointed to a laundering operation, and the uniforms provided inside access. Any one of these discoveries alone would justify a decade-long federal prosecution. Combined, they paint the architecture of a criminal enterprise operating with military precision beneath a building where children attend after-school programs. But the most critical piece of evidence sat in plain view, centered on a desk near the surveillance servers. A thick, leather-bound ledger, its pages dense with handwritten entries, dates, dollar amounts, coded names, and routing numbers. Agents open it carefully, scanning the first several pages. The entries do not track narcotics shipments. They do not log cash deposits. The columns reference something else entirely, an operational detail far more severe than the 2,600 pounds of cocaine and fentanyl already discovered. Federal cryptanalysts arrive within the hour, portable terminals already loaded with decryption software calibrated for cartel communication protocols. The ledger's entries use a rotating substitution cipher, simple by intelligence standards, but effective enough to delay any untrained reader. Within 40 minutes, the first page resolves into plain text. The columns are not tracking product weight or cash flow, they are tracking people. Each row contains a first name, an estimated age, a 6-digit transfer code, and a destination tag linked to a specific facility. The ages range from 6 to 15. Beside every entry, a dollar figure, some as low as $8,000, others climbing past $45,000, each one corresponding to a dated payment logged in a parallel column. Analysts cross-reference the transfer codes against the encrypted surveillance servers still humming on the metal table. The servers unlock a digital mirror of the ledger, hundreds of additional entries spanning 18 months of continuous operation, organized by region, sorted by quarter, and tagged with internal status markers. Active, delivered, pending. Mapped coordinates embedded in the server files point to drop-off locations in 5 states, a temporary housing unit outside Milwaukee, a federally funded youth shelter in Des Moines, a community intake facility on the south side of Chicago, a residential group home in Duluth, a converted church basement operating as a transitional center for unaccompanied minors near Grand Rapids, Michigan. Every single location receives public funding and appears on official government registries as a legitimate social service provider. The ledger's payment structure reveals a second layer of rot. Monthly wire transfers, routed through 4 shell companies registered in Delaware and Nevada, feed directly into the operating budgets of these facilities. Disguised as grant disbursements and charitable donations, the payments guarantee cooperation from site managers, silence from security staff, and unmonitored access during overnight hours. Transport schedules in the server files align precisely with gaps in state inspection calendars, windows where no auditor, no caseworker, no law enforcement officer is scheduled to set foot inside. Forensic accountants begin tracing the shell companies upstream. The financial trail does not scatter. It converges, tightening into a single routing corridor that feeds every payment, every facility budget, every transport schedule through one central authorization node. The outreach programs printed on the center's glossy brochures, the smiling children on its website banners, the legislative testimony praising its mission, all of it was packaging. A perfectly constructed civic facade concealing a multi-state pipeline built to move children like inventory. Sustaining an operation of this precision across 5 states, through government-funded buildings, past federal oversight committees, demands more than cartel muscle or laundered cash. It demands someone whose name alone can shut down an audit before it begins. Someone no inspector would dare question. Someone seated so deep inside the political machinery that suspicion itself bends around them. The routing corridor terminates at a single bank account held under the name of a registered nonprofit, the Minneapolis Community Advancement Coalition. State and corporation records list one founding director, Councilwoman Layla Noor Abdi. FBI cyber units pull her financial disclosures, campaign filings, and legislative voting record within the hour. Every thread leads to the same knot. Abdi chaired the City Council's Housing and Human Services Committee for 6 consecutive years, personally approving grant allocations to the very facilities flagged in the ledger. Her signature appears on 47 separate funding authorizations, totaling over $91 million in combined city and state money, each one directed toward cultural integration and youth empowerment initiatives that exist only on paper. Beneath the bureaucratic language of approved budgets and quarterly progress reports, the money moved in a single direction, downward through the Delaware and Nevada shells, outward to the 5-state network, and back again as laundered revenue deposited into accounts she controlled. The scale is staggering. Forensic analysts reconstruct a financial architecture worth an estimated $1.2 billion built over a span of just under 4 years. Grant disbursements covered facility leases and staff salaries at every drop-off location. Campaign donors listed in Abdi's public filings match the registered agents of the shell companies funneling cash to site managers. A series of internal emails recovered from the encrypted servers show her issuing direct instructions on transport timing, facility access windows, and inspector schedules. Each message routed through a dedicated encrypted relay that auto-deleted after 72 hours. Her public image tells the opposite story. Local newspapers archived dozens of profiles celebrating her as a champion of immigrant communities, a tireless advocate for affordable housing, a political rising star tipped for a future congressional run. She appeared at ribbon-cutting ceremonies for 2 of the shelters now confirmed as trafficking waypoints. She testified before the state legislature in support of expanded funding for unaccompanied minor programs her own network had already hollowed out and converted into supply corridors. Oversight committees never flagged a single anomaly. Auditors assigned to review her grant allocations were rotated off their cases within weeks, reassigned to unrelated departments through procedural channels that traced back to recommendations filed by her office. Her shield extended beyond her title into the entire administrative apparatus surrounding it, a self-reinforcing loop of deference, political loyalty, and institutional blind spots that made scrutiny functionally impossible. Federal prosecutors now face a critical problem. Abdi remains free, still holding her council seat, still carrying a city-issued phone with direct lines to every compromised facility in the network. One intercepted communication, one tipped-off associate, and the entire 5-state operation collapses into ash. Witnesses disappear, servers get wiped, and the children still inside the pipeline vanish with them. A single arrest warrant is not enough. The Bureau needs to shut down every node simultaneously before she ever knows they are coming. The order goes out at 6:14 p.m., transmitted on a secure federal relay to field offices in 5 states. Simultaneous execution, no staggered entries, no advance notice to local precincts. Every warrant drops at the same moment, synchronized to the second, because even a 90-second gap between raids gives the network enough time to trigger its automated wipe protocols. Tactical teams in St. Paul hit the first stash house at 6:15. Agents in Milwaukee breach a converted daycare facility 40 seconds later. Across Chicago's west side, a DHS unit rams through the reinforced garage door of a commercial laundry service listed in the ledger as a transit hub. In Des Moines, federal marshals surround a residential duplex operating under a fraudulent foster placement license. A joint FBI and ICE detail outside Grand Rapids, Michigan, moves on a warehouse leased through one of the Nevada shell companies, its monthly rent paid directly from a grant Abdi authorized 9 months earlier. The coordination is surgical. Within the first 12 minutes, agents secure 19 locations across Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, and Michigan. Forensic accountants embedded with each tactical unit immediately image every hard drive, clone every server, and photograph every document before a single piece of evidence can be moved. Federal judges in 4 jurisdictions have pre-signed asset seizure orders. Bank accounts freeze in real time as the raids unfold, locking down over $63 million in liquid holdings scattered across 14 financial institutions. Inside the Chicago laundry facility, agents discover a concealed basement compartment holding 230 pounds of fentanyl, pre-packaged in quarter-kilo bricks stamped with the same markings found in the Minneapolis vault. The Milwaukee daycare yields $41,000 in loose cash, a disassembled Glock 17, and a laptop containing encrypted transport manifests dating back 19 months. Every location mirrors the Minneapolis blueprint: legitimate community-facing exterior, fortified criminal infrastructure underneath. The most critical objective is not the drugs or the money. Tactical teams at 7 of the 19 sites locate minors. 34 children in total, ages ranging from 8 to 15, recovered from converted residential units, basement holding areas, and a repurposed storage facility outside Racine. Medical teams standing by on federal order begin triage within minutes of each breach. By 8:47 p.m., a black SUV convoy rolls to a stop outside Councilwoman Abdi's residence in the Whittier neighborhood of Minneapolis. According to arrest reports, she answered the door holding her city-issued phone, which agents immediately seized before the screen could be unlocked. The arrest warrant lists 4 federal charges: conspiracy to distribute controlled substances, human trafficking of minors, money laundering in excess of $1 billion, and operating a continuing criminal enterprise. She says nothing as agents secure her wrists. With the architect in custody, the network went dark. 34 children are breathing outside the pipeline for the first time in months. But the machinery that built Abdi's empire did not operate in secret. It operated through official channels, approved budgets, and elected authority, funded by the very institutions now claiming they never saw a thing. Every dollar Councilwoman Abdi allegedly funneled into her network carried an official stamp. City appropriations committees approved the grants. State housing boards co-signed the allocations. Federal community development funds, earmarked for refugee resettlement and youth mentorship, passed through 4 layers of bureaucratic review before landing in accounts she controlled. Not one auditor flagged a discrepancy, nor did any oversight committee request a site visit to the facilities those dollars supposedly built. For 9 consecutive fiscal years, her budget requests sailed through unanimous votes, wrapped in the language of cultural integration and neighborhood safety. The political machinery performed exactly as constructed, serving to shield those who operate inside it. Abdi's title functioned like a firewall: councilwoman. The word alone redirected scrutiny, softened questions, neutralized the instinct to dig deeper. Grant reviewers who might have challenged a private contractor's application waved hers through without a second read. Police commanders routed patrol units away from her facilities at her request, citing community sensitivity. Inspectors from the city's Department of Regulatory Services visited the Community and Youth Empowerment Center twice in 9 years, both times with 48 hours of advance notice, both times escorted by Abdi's own staff through pre-approved areas of the building. 34 children were recovered from buildings funded by taxpayer money, operated under government charters, and promoted in campaign literature by elected officials standing shoulder to shoulder with Abdi at ribbon-cutting ceremonies. Rather than running through abandoned warehouses or unmarked border crossings, the trafficking pipeline operated through facilities with city seals on the front door, state-licensed counselors on the payroll, and federal grant numbers printed on every quarterly report filed with the Department of Housing and Urban Development. These operators sit in City Hall, shaking hands at fundraisers, posing for photographs with the children they claim to protect. Abdi is in federal custody tonight, facing charges that carry a mandatory life sentence. But the system that handed her the keys, the budget, and the authority to build a billion-dollar criminal enterprise across 5 states remains fully operational, fully funded, and fully intact. If you think a city council member running a trafficking syndicate behind a youth center is the worst this system can produce, wait until you see what happens when a federal judge decides to rewrite the law itself to protect a drug cartel. Subscribe. The truth is hiding in plain sight.